Welcome to the Backyard Professor live show. I'm excited tonight. I get to review Diane Pasulka, her book, American Cosmic, one of the good ones. Her second book, Encounters, Experiences with Non-Human Intelligences, Explorations with UFOs, Dreams, Angels, AI, and Other Dimensions. Wild and crazy stuff. And yet, some of the most eye-opening reading I've done. Now, I read her first book, and I had so much blasted fun with it that I marked all kinds of stuff that I want to talk about tonight. I had so much fun with that I got into her second book, and then I found an interview with her. Let me give you her main premise. Diane Pasulka, one of the most important authors and researchers. Hey, Radio Free Mormon, good to see you, my friend. One of the most important researchers in this UFO topic. Let's jump right on this. I want to have her share her understanding. Now, she is in religious studies. As such, they don't care which religion is true. That has nothing to do with religious studies. What she cares about in this field is how does religion affect society? That's what religious studies is. Hey, Latter Daily Digest, Galactic Professor. Yeah, sure. I'm way out there. Let's take a listen real quick to one of Diane's ideas that I think is extremely interesting, her definition of religion. This is an interview that she did with Theory of Everything, Kurt Jomongar. Oh, I hope I massacred his last name. I apologize, sir. It's one of the best YouTube channels on this subject. He goes deep, very deep. Hey, Peter Higgs, good to see you. Yes, UFOs are the flavor. I'm just getting ready to let my author define for us her view of religion.
So what you see, first of all, let's get rid of this idea that religion has to be exactly like Christianity, okay? And instead, let's look at religion as a set of beliefs and practices directed toward that which looks to be of transforming and transformative power, okay? Because that's, that includes then Buddhism and, some Hinduism and things like that. So other religions other than Jewish, Christian, Islam. Okay, so then you look at people who actually report seeing or being in touch with inhabitants of UFOs, and a significant percentage of them have a transformative experience after they've seen one. Okay, they're like, wow, that really changed everything for me. I just now know. I mean, I've talked to so many now, thousands and thousands of people who have had experiences of either seeing a UFO or believing somehow that they're in contact with UFOs. Now, I'm not saying this is true or false, because in my field, we don't actually weigh in. A very few of us weigh in on what, trying to say this exists or this doesn't exist. You can prove it, right? Right now, we just can't prove that. So, it's the same with religion. You can't prove God exists or doesn't exist. So we just don't do that. We just look at social effects, but we also identify patterns. So this is what I saw when I started my work in looking at people who've seen UFOs or believe that they're in touch with the inhabitants of UFOs, like extraterrestrials. We already have religions based on UFOs. Okay, so we have Nation of Islam based on UFO sighting, Raelism based on a UFO sighting. Okay, so a lot of times people will have transcendent experiences either when they see a UFO or after they've seen a UFO. So the transcendent experience that changes their lives, that's like a religious conversion. Because that's, if you look at the history of people who have been converted to religions, you'll see that that's the type of experience that they're having. And then a lot of times these people have intense long-term behavior changes, okay, where their value system changes. Like maybe they were really about making money, and all of a sudden, boom, they have this experience of a UFO, and these people are called experiencers, by the way.
So let me stop there at the moment and share with you her overarching philosophy here. As a religious studies scholar, she does study various different religions, not in order to compare them to see which one is true at all. Her overarching premise in her two books, Encounters and Cosmic American Cosmic, boy, I got the cosmic part, but not the American. Her overarching premise is that, and this is what attracted me to her research, the UFO phenomena is not going away. Let's just put that on the table. It's a new religion. And you go, come on, you're nuts. No. Diane Pasulka studied this for 6 years. She notices an intertwining thread between technology, religion, and UFOs. That's her premise. And her evidence is the stories from various experiencers, her experiences of working with scientists, with other sociologists and academicians, Jacques Vallée, Gary Nolan, many others. And she sees the effect of the experiencer with UFOs is the same effect as someone who becomes converted to a religion. Now, this is so interesting because this is what got me onto this topic. My intuition, if her premises are correct, my intuition is correct that we are dealing with a religious phenomenon. It's not like what we were expecting. There are many more connections than we ever imagined. Those connections in some places are downright freaky, and we don't quite know how to deal with this stuff. Now, the beauty of this is, my intuition is, religion is going to have to adapt. Tonight, I'll share a new view from Pasulka, which is an old view. She did this interview 2 years ago. I've been watching a lot of her interviews. This is one of her best ones. I will get her on my show and interview her. So this theme is that I don't think we are prepared for the big reveal, what we call disclosure with a capital D. We know our government isn't going to get it done. So seriously, I'll float this out there. We need to quit worrying about what the government says or thinks. We're not going to all of a sudden start believing in this incredibly fascinating and yet utterly weird subject just because the government comes out and says, if Donald Trump becomes the disclosure president, he stands up there and he says UFOs are real. That's not going to convince a whole lot of people to start believing it. You know what I mean? So why wait for the tardy government who's been lying to us and hiding it for the last 80 years in the first place, right? So, I mean, let's just put that out there. So her premise that this is a religion turns off some people. I get it. Why go religion? Can't you do it from the scientific end? He does. Her premise is the three keys, the technology, the religion, and the UFOs are all interlinked, and they are a vital aspect of the impact on we humans. The interesting thing that she presents in 500 pages with these two books is the evidence shows that those, well, she just said it basically. The evidence shows that those who have the experience with the UFOs, it is a religious experience. And it doesn't matter if it's for good or for bad. Now, the vast majority of UFO experiences have been good. There have been some bad ones. We aren't going to ignore that. But the majority of them are for the good, according to her as well. So what I want to do tonight, I'm going to share a few of these video clips, and I'm going to share some ideas from her different books, Encounters and American Cosmic. You know, it's like my stomach is too big, or my eyes is too big for my stomach when I go to get a meal. I always pile too much on my plate. I do the same thing. My mind is too big for my capability and time limit to share all the wealth of information I want to out of 2 books. I'm supposed to do a book review, and I'm using 2 books. What an idiot. Yeah, I apologize in advance. However, let's go to, now the cool thing I liked about this Encounters book. So I've read, I've got this. I've got R.D. Six Killer Clark's extremely cool book, Sky People, down in Mesoamerica of the UFO situation. And I've got Chris Bledsoe, UFO of God. I've reviewed this in a previous video. So I've read about encounters in many, many, many cases. And I am reading Jacques Vallée, I think I took it upstairs, book on the dimensions. They are interdimensional beings that are visiting us, and we have those kind of encounters. So I thought this was going to be more of the same. Okay, so what she's going to do is she's going to share stories about people who encounter UFOs. That is not what this book is about. Pleasant surprise. It's not a run-of-the-mill, normal, regular UFO book at all. And I love that. Yeah. Away with the regular and the boring and the repetitive. Let's get some new analysis, some new insights, and Pasulka delivers. I love that. So out of her introduction, if I may, the path to writing about UFOs was unexpected, but it was a natural progression in my research as a professor of the history of religion. I study reports of miraculous events and afterlife worlds in Christian history. Now, she was a Catholic. She was raised a Catholic. So that's going to be her basis. My very first UFO video, I was doing it for Mormonism, because that's my basis. That's the religious tradition that I've come out of. But it's religion. It's not about which religion. Because UFOs are a worldwide phenomenon. You heard that right. America, you're not special chosen. Israel, you're not special chosen by the UFOs. Africa, sorry, you're not special chosen. The UK, Britain, it's got to be special chosen. Nope, not you either. Canada, no. You're not so hot and mighty and special either. Mesoamerica, nope, you neither. All of us over in Russia, China, Japan, none of you are special chosen by the UFOs either. There is no special chosen. There is a worldwide phenomenon of experiencers with these UAPs. They call them UAPs, UFOs. The UFO nomenclature is going away, and they're trying to encourage us all to use the UAP. I'm still in the habit of using both. That's just tough luck. We're going to have to live with that. One of my idiosyncrasies. So what this theme of hers in studying the religious experience entails is this includes sightings of aerial beings of light. Now, hey, we're in the land of the weird right now. First First definition, beings of light. Come on. Nobody sees beings of light in our everyday regular world. We just see people that look like you and I. So already it's weird. And maybe that's the wrong connotation. It's different. It's something we're going to have to adapt to, because this baby keeps coming back at us. Now, there's not just one or two special like in the beginning of Mormonism. Only Joseph Smith got the visitation of the UFOs. I can see Mormons now getting mad at me for saying this, but I'm going to say it. The Joseph Smith first vision of seeing God the Father and his son Jesus Christ is his religious Christian background of Methodism and Protestantism. It is his interpretation of UFO beings because they kept floating in the air. His visit of Angel Moroni was a UFO. We know these beings can not only come down through the ceiling or go through walls, but when they beam you up, Scotty, when that light gets on you, they can beam you up through the roof or through the walls also. So I'm going to advocate a different interpretation based on what we know now about UFOs. Joseph Smith had the UFO experience, but he wasn't special chosen either. Oh, and I know that's blasphemy to Mormons. I get it, right? Everyone is seeing beings of light. Now, are they describing them as human beings? No. No, they are not. Understand this definition. This whole UFO project, this whole conception is changing our definitions. Beings of light can be orbs. There is a case to be made of some experiencers who claim that the orb stopped in front of them, and then a being came out of that orb. We're not going to worry about splitting hairs in that manner tonight. Just understand her research involves this: beings of light, miraculous flying houses. Yeah, houses. That's right. Monks and nuns who levitate and bilocate. That means a person is in two places at one time. Look, we're talking. This is weird, okay? And a religious doctrine called purgatory. I'm not going to get into that part tonight. Belief in UFOs. What in the Sam Hill is going on? This is a rapidly growing spirituality that corresponds to the 21st century shift to digital infrastructures. So it's similar to religion because people see things in the sky, aerial objects, and they have had no physical evidence that they exist, yet they often attribute to them a spiritual significance. UFOs are, as Carl Jung famously wrote, technological angels. This is key. They are symbols and signs of a new epoch in human history. That is Pasulka's basis. And she backs it up incredibly. I'm not going to be able to get through all of this tonight, but you're in for a real interesting interpretation. This is far more complete, and we're not done, but this is far more complete than what my original underlying premise and assumption when I jumped into this subject was. This is far more inclusive. There's the word I'm looking for. Not complete, inclusive. So the UFO event was a spiritual reality for many people, including the scientists that she worked with. And even though I didn't know it at the time, the topic of my research was just about to get very real. Through my study, I found several things to be the case, which I detailed in my published research. First, and this is key, think of the public out there. John Q. Public, the ones that we love to castigate, because, you know, John Q. Public is just about as dumb as dirt. But in some instances, we are part of John Q. Public from another perspective, and so we too are dumb as dirt. When it comes to automobile mechanics, I'm John Q. Public. I am dumb as dirt, right? So get this. The public perception of UFOs is mediated and often managed by media and agents of disinformation. So here, right off the bat, we are starting off with a problem. Houston, we have a problem. So, second, the claims of some of the people in her study here, in this book and her other book, some of their claims that they studied UFOs and that the study of UFOs has been ongoing since the 1940s, which she started out not believing. Well, that turned out to be true. And that's what sucked her into this vortex. I didn't believe or disbelieve the claims made by the scientists in my study. Instead, I documented the development of what I believed is a new form of religion or religious expression. And Chris Bledsoe is a superb example of that. He was religious. I believe someone told me, I said he was in the Baptist church. Someone corrected me and said, no, it was the Pentecostal. Okay, either way, he was in a Christian denomination, a Protestant Christian denomination. His whole church turned against him once he began describing his experiences. So he quit going to organized church, but he became far more spiritually oriented, to the point to where he doesn't even kill life anymore. He doesn't go hunting. He won't even squash a bug. He sweeps it out of the house, off the floor now. That's a change. That is a spiritual maneuver of magnificent proportions, but he still didn't go back to church. But that's irrelevant to the spirituality of this thing. Okay? It does have an effect socially on us, is what she's saying. So I was surprised when the U.S. military, the Pentagon, in the summer of 2021, released an unclassified report that acknowledged that they had funded secret programs to study UFOs. She didn't realize that. Finally, this development pushed me to think beyond my training and the resources available in my field. In effect, the Pentagon report admitting in 2021 that, yes, we are studying UFOs ratified her new form of study, that this is a new form of religion and spirituality. And you go, no, we don't need more religion. Tough luck, we've got it. You're just going to have to suck it up, cupcake. Let me move over to page 14 real quick, and then I'll show you another really cool video clip of Dr. Pasulka. she kind of introduces the book each by chapters, and that's a good way for me to give you an overview of the parts of the book that I want to discuss with you. Simon, one of the people that she discussed in her book and interviewed and got to know and worked with, etc., learned their beliefs, their disbeliefs, etc. She deals with a lot of people. This one is named Simon, is a venture capitalist who specializes in humane uses of AI, artificial intelligence, and has worked on projects with DARPA, that is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which is a research and development agency of the United States Department of Defense, responsible. What they do is they develop emerging technologies for the military. So they want to be on the cutting edge, right? That's DARPA. So with this background, Simon, this lady, this person, I don't know if it's a lady or a guy, can't remember. It's a she. She proposes the bold hypothesis that aliens or extraterrestrials are now here on the earth right now. And they are from outside of space-time. Man, this gets hairy. They are not extraterrestrial beings from another galaxy, but non-human intelligence from outside our dimension of space-time, made explicit through artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence will be sentient and represent the humans from the future who many people interpret as aliens. That is one such interpretation of a person that she was dealing with in her research. So let me share another video clip with you from Diane, because she is just so fascinating. She's continuing talking about what religion is.
People who are people who've seen or believe they're in conversation with inhabitants of UFOs, they're called experiencers, and they've been around for a long time. But that, right now, that because of media and entertainment media, people are more inclined to look at these events, like when they see something like an aerial phenomena, they're more inclined now to say, if they can't identify it as a drone or an airplane or something like that, they'll say, oh, it must be a UFO, which is an unidentified flying object, absolutely. But then there's a whole group of assumptions that they bring to that interpretation. So we're looking at interpretive structures that have changed. And that's why the UFO is now like a rising, what I would call not a religion, although we specifically have UFO religions, I would call it the rise of a religiosity.
What's the definition of religiosity?
Yeah. So a religion looks very distinct, and it kind of mimics or looks very similar to, say, a traditional religion like Christianity, in that you have a person who has seen a UFO and then brings that information to other people, and those people become converted to that religion, let's say Nation of Islam or something like that. And then that's a very discrete set of beliefs and practices. All right. You're either a Nation of Islam person or you're not. Okay. But a religiosity is more like what we see with the spiritual but not religious community. It's a set of beliefs and practices that people have that they don't have to ascribe to. They don't say, I absolutely believe in this person's idea of what the UFO message is. It's basically, it's not discrete. It's this dissemination of the beliefs and practices is decentralized. There's no centralized belief structure or institution. And people get their information through each other on social media, or through media like Star Wars or something like that, right? Or through documentaries that are supposed to actually be nonfiction. right? Even New York Times, you know, where you see the Tic Tacs and things like that. So that's what I call a religiosity. So a lot of people are having their lives completely, or let's put it this way, they're having their basic truths and assumptions about reality shifted because of belief in extraterrestrials. And that's what I see.
Okay, that is very, very interesting. I want to move this forward real quick, right there. Let's come back now. So her idea kind of fits the definition of the nuns, N-O-N-E-S, who these days on surveys, what religion are you? I'm none. I don't need to have a religion to be spiritual. So this is an interesting nuance covering of the UFOs being a new religion. It's a rise in religiosity as well. I think that's her point that she is trying to get across. Now, it's really interesting that she says virtually all of the UFO/alien contact experiences that I am aware of contain some type of paranormal phenomenon that goes along with it. Somehow, these are linked to spirituality or religion. That's on page 86. I'll try to give you the page numbers as I get through these. There's so much in each one of the books. I've underlined and outlined and bracketed whole sections I want to read to you. On page 100 now, UFOs and the related phenomenon are means through which man's concepts are being rearranged. Now, here is part of my concern with the capability of being psychologically prepared for the big reveal when it occurs. Notice my assumption. How do you know it's going to occur? Right? See, I have assumptions. You do too. We all do. Welcome to Assumptionville. Assumptions aren't bad, but don't live on them. Test them eventually. How do you test that there's going to be a big reveal? You can't. So is that an unprovable proposition? No, not through time, at least until I die, and then I'm not going to worry about it. So see, there is not a solid core proof to any of this. Kind of like religion, huh? Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So, but even if we can't prove it, it is absolutely rearranging a lot of our human understanding of ourselves, our environment, our skies, our oceans. Even if this is a mass fake hallucination, it is affecting the world. And this is what her study is showing. That's the angle of her research. How does this affect us? And that makes it very real. It will rearrange our very categories of reality, as hopefully I can get to share with you later. That's how critically big this thing is. Even if none of it's real, in one respect, that's not the issue. Their ultimate source may be unknowable, at least at this stage of human development. What we do know, according to Jacques Vallée, who is one of the ultimate premier ufologists in existence, They are presenting us with continually recurring absurd messages and appearances, which defy rational analysis, but which nonetheless address human beings on the level of myth and imagination. Those who say, and this is me, not her, those who would propose that myth and imagination are la woo and unreal don't understand that myth and imagination is the substrate underneath every human invention in existence. Without myth and imagination, you wouldn't be looking at your computer screen right now listening to me, possibly thousands of miles away in real time, and I'm not yelling. I'm simply talking. I wouldn't have this microphone without myth and imagination. I wouldn't even have this book in its book form without myth and imagination. A ballpoint pen would not exist. Every invention ever made by mankind, including the very idea of shelves invented to hold stuff that we have invented, is always in the imagination first. So you can't dismiss it. It's the basis of our reality. Wild. So when I speak of a control system for planet Earth, Vallée says, I do not want my words to be mistaken, so let's understand this. I don't mean that some higher order of beings has locked us inside the constraints of a space-bound jail here on Earth. We're not in jail, even though we are constrained. Closely monitored by psychic entities we might call angels or demons, I do not propose to redefine God. What I do mean is this. Mythology rules at a level of our world social reality over which normal political and intellectual action has no power. The question scholars asked in the 20th century about how and why religions persist or how deities could possibly be real to believers has given way to questions about how information exists for us. That's the question we are now asking, not how gods and angels and stuff like that exist. How does information exist? So we've had a shift in our modernity, but we've got the same question. New tools allow people to assess billions of data that reveal how populations react or respond to input. They even can predict these responses. That's what Facebook's all about, by the way. You are just one great big gigantic social experiment for Zuckerberg on Facebook. I'll bet you didn't know that, did you? And I'll bet if you do know that, you still don't care and you're not going to stop using it, are you? Yeah, I didn't think so. So, with such a macro view of behavior, one can identify how modern vehicles for the transmission of mythologies, and those vehicles are entertainment, social media, movies, and video games, where contemporary gods meet, they fight, and they interact with viewers and players. For example, they influence behavior on a mass scale. America has a problem with gun violence. I'm not against owning a gun, but until we quit being brainwashed about the influence of our youth of the video games that shoot and kill everything and everybody nonstop, 8 hours a day in order to win the video game, we're still going to have school shootings. That's how this works. We are influenced by media, and that's the rise of a new religion through the way media is teaching us about the UFOs. And this is Pasulka's source of study. The paranormal. Now, and this, I know I say this every video, and I'm going to say it for a long time, because this isn't something you just say, oh, well, yeah, that's obvious. No, it's not obvious. It's not easy to accept what I'm about to say. I still can't. I can't. I've been raised on good science. Isaac Asimov, Carl Sagan, what's his nose? Stephen Jay Gould, Richard Dawkins, yeah, even him, the atheist guy, Stephen Gould, Jerry Coyne. I've been raised by the orthodox scientists, Brian Greene, Albert Einstein. I'm not joking. But with every UFO encounter now, what comes along with it, because it's just not using our science. It's just not. What comes along with it that we are going to have to get used to, if we're going to understand this crazy phenomena, which may be us from the future coming back to help us because we're too damn dense and stupid and distracted right now to help ourselves. I hope that's not the case. What if we're left on our own after all and they just watch us destroy ourselves, except for 8 people whom they put on their ark of a UFO and save from the fire of nuclear warfare? One of the prophecies of the end times. The second time, the first time by water destruction, the second time by fire. What if they're here to do that? I mean, stranger things have happened. It always is associated with the paranormal, and I am still of a mindset that I cringe when I just hear the word, because of what conjures up in my mind. What's the paranormal? You know, Uri Geller bending spoons, bunk, telekinesis, wishful thinking, remote viewing. Are you out of your mind? Actually, with remote viewing, you are. In some respects. Bilocating, are you out of your mind? Yeah, you're also out of your body, etc., etc. Time travel, you know, stuff like that. But it always accompanies this with the UFO is the paranormal and the supernatural. This is not natural. Our craft do not drop from 27,000 feet high like Fravor's Tic Tac did down to the ocean in 0.7 seconds, meaning it had to travel at 35,000 miles an hour, dozens and dozens and dozens of times faster than the speed of sound, and stop on a dime. No, this is beyond us, right? So this is kind of the anomaly. This is kind of the difficulty that we are now involved with. So page 108. What most people don't understand about philosophy is that it is not just information. And you ask, wait, you were just talking about the paranormal and the supernatural, dude. Yeah. Now you're jumping to philosophy. Yeah. I told you, this is not a singular study phenomena. It's not a mono study phenomena. It's a multi-phenomena study that we are now involved in, because it's a multi-changing of our very social fabric that is occurring, right? So what most people don't understand is that it's not just information, rather it is power and a force. Learning philosophical traditions produces powerful effects in the lives of those who receive it, and our philosophy is going to change if it does turn out to be true that these beings, whatever they are, visiting us from wherever they come from, are not just opening their mouths and talking. In some instances, they don't have mouths, and yet we are hearing them in our heads. They are communicating to us telepathically, and that freaks me out. Obviously, I'm confessing to you tonight, I am not psychologically prepared for this. I was raised thoroughly on the scientific method, and our Western science has done us the disservice. Boy, I'm going to take it in the teeth for this too. Here we go. I'm ready for you in the comments, I think. I think I'll just ignore everybody who tells me I'm full of shit. Our science has done us now, because we're trying to catch up to the science of the UFOs, which we can't. It has done us the disservice of eliminating some parts of our very real human experience in order to arrive at a complete, fake, phony, arbitrary, objective truth that has never existed anyway. But unfortunately, that's how most of us were raised. This is a hard one for me to overcome. I'm just confessing my sin, or my experience, which is going to be a sin if I can't change. What's called for is flexibility, man. And I'm going through the pain of that right now. I am going to be able to document the pain of my working through this incredibly difficult situation of recognizing and then doing something about it, that our sciences have short-changed us in the name of a phony objectivity that has never existed anyway. And ouch. Okay, so page 123. Here it is again. Here's yet another angle that she brings in that is so vital. Because, can I get dramatic a little bit just for the fun of it? Because I know I'm being recorded. This is so vital. If you don't change, you're going to die. This will kill you. You'll be left behind in the dust, and you'll wither into insignificant nothing. And yet that really is what's going to have to happen. Yeah. Change or be left behind. Here's the other angle. Jose is another person that she's worked with, right? Jose's UFO experiences are similar to many people's experiences, and they reflect a spiritual orientation. Again, I get it. Yeah. The new atheists 15 years ago, they had their say-so. They came on stage strutting all cocky, and they absolutely slapped the living religions silly for a while, and they won the day. They conquered that useless thing they call religion and spirituality, which is entirely fake. And now they're back off stage. And guess what's coming back on? The very beast they slew, because they didn't slay it. So this guy's experiences, there's always this spiritual orientation involved. We're just going to have to get used to that. Whatever that means. Don't ask me. I don't know. I'm just reading Pasulka. She tries to explain this, and I think I do have a clip that I'll share with you again here in a minute. But it's not easy. Okay, nothing about this is easy, and yet I'm very grateful that my ultimate unconscious intuition was that religion is key with this phenomenon. Now I've got a really good scholar who's saying the same thing. That's kind of pleasant. So, and this is difficult to describe because this spiritual orientation can't be formalized. Here's part of our problem with this. And it can't be formalized by traditional religious categories. Again, the way this UFO thing is affecting us as a society now is our old categories are crumbling. Their meaning is dissipating, and something has to take their place because we're still having the experiences. These orbs are still showing up for people. The craft are still flying through the air, and people are seeing this. So the categories are going to we have to discover, oh, that wasn't actually real, but this is, and how do we categorize this? That's part of our difficulty psychologically. And now, again, Pasulka says, make no mistake about it, there's going to have to be a spiritual adjustment. It's not because we're becoming religious freak jobs. That had nothing to do with it. This has nothing to do with which denomination is true either. And it's not refuting science. It's showing us that we aren't far enough with our own, but it's not against science any more than it's against religion. That's important to get. What we're going to see in the long run, for the rest of my life, for the rest of most of your lives, what we will see is the separation of religion and science is going to disappear. It has to, because we're incomplete by many orders of magnitude in the science, not because it's wrong, but because we're just not far enough yet. And we are too dogmatically convinced in the religion spirituality side of things, and all of that gotta go. And there's a lot of us that can't let go of that yet, and I'm including myself in that. But that's the road forward. So see what I mean by we've got to get psychologically prepared. We have to get spiritually and religiously prepared. We have to become better scientific and critical, careful thinkers, or we're gonna get mowed over, baby. This isn't about science versus religion. The religious people who are arguing against science, knock it off. You're being doughheads. You scientists who are arguing against religion and spirituality, knock it off. You're doughheads. You're both outdated. And this is what's outdating you. The UFO and the social impact of this event on our world society. And that can't be prevented. That's the message here in Pasulka's fabulous research. So, here we go. The closest framework that we're facing now is a form of esotericism. Wow. In its most general sense, esotericism is defined as knowledge, but it's not knowledge of the masses. And I know this starts getting you thinking like, oh my God, he's going to get parochial on us. It's a higher form of knowledge. Now, I've got news for you. Science has no choice but to become more esoteric, because we do know that the UAP absolutely has a higher form of knowledge than we do. And that's why the government's hiding the UFOs from the public. And that's why the government is lying its butt off about it, because they can't duplicate the technology. They don't have enough esoteric knowledge of how do these things work, because some of the craft are said to not even have motors or engines, and yet they can fly at 35,000 miles an hour, and they can speed underwater at 3,000 miles an hour. I can't remember if it's miles an hour or knots or whatever. That is so ridiculously much faster than absolutely anything we can travel underwater with. So obviously, they know something we don't. We're going to have to swallow some ego and get serious about becoming more scientifically understandable. Sucks to be us, doesn't it? Well, I won't dwell on that. However, here's another idea on page 151. What key that we can begin to use, even me in my old age, and I will begin to do this. I am getting ready to retire, and I am not going to shy away from this study, because I want to know the truth. I'm not going to use a panty waist excuse. Well, I am pretty old. Tough. It's time for you to get your butt to work, shirts. Right? Here's what we need to do in order to get ourselves in mental shape, spiritual shape, psychological shape, in order to survive the disclosure of the UFOs when they show up. We'll wait for government till we become Rip Van Winkle 90 years down the road. We're going to wake up and we still aren't going to know anything. But what about them revealing themselves? Yes. Again, notice my assumption. I get it. I've got assumptions too. I'm way ahead of the curve on that. But I'm going to work with that for the time being. So Oxford quantum physicist David Deutsch, for decades, and I've got his book right over there. You think I'm kidding, don't you? Let me pull a BYP on you. This is what I'm famous for. Let me go grab this book real quick. I was just looking at it the other day. I think I know where it is in my shelf, although I've got hundreds of books to look through. No, I can't find it. Come on, where is it? It's got to be here. There's Smolin. Oh, yeah, right there. Woohoo! Yes, I've got it. David Deutsch. If you haven't read this book, you're cheating yourselves. You hear me? We're too distracted as humanity. I don't give a damn about Wheel of Fortune on television or Jeopardy or The Bachelor or the evening news, because they don't tell you spit anyway. Better use your time to study really important stuff like this one, a New York Times bestseller, The Beginning of Infinity, David Deutsch, The Fabric of Reality. Read it. It's good stuff. I'll make you a deal. If you'll get this book and read it and let me know in the comments of this video, I will reread it with you, just to show you my goodwill and serious determination that I'm not leaving myself out of this process of how to prepare for the disclosure. You don't get to just sit down in your front yard, smoke your pipe, kick your feet up, and look at the skies. It's going to destroy you psychologically, spiritually, and potentially physically if you do it that way. There's a better way, and it is this. David Deutsch for decades proposed the parallel universe or the multiverse theory, which will soon be proven with the aid of quantum computers and artificial intelligence systems. This is the power of our new technologies and most recently AI systems, which present a new interface for knowledge directly to us, we humans. So, the idea here is the study of mathematics, the study of geometry and music as a roadmap to access the mystical or the transcendent states of mind that would reveal sacred information. Because the science, and I know I'm going to take it in the teeth for this too. If we can change our perspective just enough to see, and I'm not saying this to water down science, I'm saying this to elevate it. Because as it is, as we've been practicing it since Newton, it is incomplete. It is limited. We're at the end of our theories, and they don't represent fundamental reality anymore. Donald Hoffman, the neuroscientist, talks about that in many videos on YouTube. Go look him up. Especially his interview with a man named Andre Ducombe. That'll knock your socks off you. So the idea now for us to prepare is to study these so that recent quantum physics experiments have proven, this is on page 151 of Pasulka, Encounters. Recent quantum physics experiment, and I'm not talking woo-woo quantum physics. Understand, Pasulka does not either. This is the quantum physics that Richard Feynman taught. Okay? This is quantum physics on the level of orthodox scientists such as Carl Sagan. I must make that clear because the moment 90% of us hear someone start talking about quantum physics and spirituality, we shut our minds off. And that's a problem now because of this UAP phenomenon. This is how it's changing our human categories. Okay? So Here's the gist from an atheist, Diane Pasulka, in her book Encounters. She is not saying this as a religious Catholic either. Okay. And I know I'm overdoing this. I'm overdoing the emphasis. I get it. But this emphasis has to be made because quantum physics has, now, I hate this word. I hate this word, prove. But quantum physics, with absolutely every experiment ever done, ever invented, ever imagined, set up, and worked through, every one of the quantum experiments has proven that there is no localized reality. It is a non-local reality that we live in. Now, what does that mean? Can I give you the philosophical nutshell? Everything you see is not real. And you're going, I knew it. You were going to go off into woo-woo. This isn't woo-woo. This is quantum physicists saying they have proven that there is no local reality. Local. I can reach out and grab the pen on my desk and show it to you. It's local. It's within my grasp. It's right here. Local. That pen isn't real until you look at it, experience it. And I know the way out that they try to say, no, that's just a measuring instrument. It doesn't take consciousness, but it took a consciousness to make that instrument. We made it, and it is involved in the quantum experiment. I know there's going to be a whole bunch of people in the comments telling me I'm listening to too much woo-woo. I am not. I will refer you to Donald Hoffman, the neuroscientist. I will refer you to several people over here that I've got on the quantum physics level. It's non-local, meaning that all of the particles of the universe are entangled, which in a nutshell means that even if two particles are a quadrillion light years away and there is no information that can possibly be passed, and none is, if you spin the particle closest to you, that will automatically, instantaneously spin the other particle the opposite direction. Instantly. It's not that information is being passed, it's that they are what they call entangled. They are connected, even across infinity. David Deutsch talks about that in the beginning of Infinity. So that's a long rabbit trail. That's a rabbit hole. I took you down. I apologize. But this is critical for this reason. We are us, you and me, baby, we're in this together. We are operating within a space-time dimension, but this breaks down. Space-time is not ultimate reality because it breaks down at 10 to the minus 33rd centimeters and 10 to the minus 44 seconds. That's the end. That's its limit. And if you have to add more energy to try to make it a smaller number, a black hole emerges. And the more energy you put into this, the bigger the black hole gets. And that's physics for you. In other words, it's not ultimate reality. So There's the hint for later videos. I didn't want to get off on this, but I already did. Here's what Simone said continued. The expansion of knowledge is the fate of our universe. So humans have been the possessor of knowledge, and only when the growth of knowledge stops does expansion cease. So Simone continued and related this to spiritual protocols. Again, this is our new paradigm. And crazy enough, and probably to the consternation of the new atheists who were wrong after all, maybe not so wrong as just themselves incomplete. They never did get us to ground reality and truth either. They just showed us the glorious thing the new atheists did. Make no mistake about this. The beautiful thing they did is they showed us our own assumptions are faulty. And for that, seriously, we appreciate that. Because you have to know where our limit is in order to expand beyond it. If you can only run a 100-yard dash in 15 seconds, I don't even think I can walk it that fast, let alone run it, let alone walk it, then that's your limit. And if you don't put more time and effort and energy into it, you will never surpass that. We must expand, and here's how we do it. This is going to be crazy, I know, but this is what the UFO phenomenon has now brought us to, is simply this. We have accessed for millennia knowledge through encounters with other beings, not people, beings, dreams, protocols like meditation, prayer, intense physical exertion. One can access this space of knowledge and consciousness. Consciousness is still thought by many to be in the brain or locally within the human body, and yet quantum physics has proven there is no local reality. Put that in your hat and smoke it. Right? Boy, I can't wait to see the comments down below. This is going to be fun. I am tempting you. Yes, I am tempting you viciously. So the idea that consciousness exists outside of the space-time reality is something that artificial intelligence systems, together with simulations within quantum computers, will soon present as another revelation for human knowledge. We are all born to have access to this infinite intelligent consciousness operating outside of these human biological water sac particles that we are. A new interface has evolved, we have it, to help us along the evolutionary path. Language was just one of these technological tools, and now we are continuing to develop artificial intelligence and quantum algorithms to enable us to expand our knowledge more in all areas. So we don't label language or quantum mechanics as artificial. So I propose, and this is on page 152 of Pasulka, I propose that these technological tools and systems are mimetic and natural, just like art, poetry, music, comedy, and languages are. Artificial intelligence systems are a natural extension of human knowledge. And the UFOs are helping us grasp this. So, humanity is the bootloader for digital human superintelligence. Another way to state this is that knowledge and infinite superintelligence resides in this place outside of space and time and encounters downloading, meditation, creating art, math, etc. These are ways in which the intelligence can communicate to us and share knowledge across quantum particles. This is on page 153 of Diane Pasulka's book. This organic network that Chardin describes as starting with the physical geological earth draws parallels with indigenous cultures around the world, whose members also see sentience within the geological earth-based forms that are capturing energy. So, holy cow. All these objectives, I'm on page 154 now. Sentience exists in all things. Take a deep breath. Again, I was raised on Orthodox science. This is hard. This is hard. Okay? But sentience exists in all things, and we are deeply connected to the earth, and that even rocks have sentience. So all these objectives and concepts look the same when seeing the complex systems mapped out into a multiverse where knowledge is expansion. So there is no linear path to reach this objective. It's just there. It's already there in formation. It's tangible in its superposition. It's still formless outside of space and time. These ideas began to take shape. They expand through our human creations, which include our technology, our AI, etc., and continues to grow these ideas into form. Thought has form. Thought has form. And once it gains a certain amount of weight, it can be seen as a probabilistic possible future. Deep, huh? Yeah, well, welcome to the world of studying everything there is so that we can appreciate and understand what the hell we're doing with UFOs. You thought it was just looking up at the sky, didn't you? There's a lot more to this than that. And we're not prepared. We're working on it, but we can do better, right? So, outside, when we look to the stars, go out tonight after this and look up and see the stars. What we're looking at is the past, what happened, right? So humans can access the present because here we are, right? So outside of this space-time collective, perceived reality is the real present, sometimes inaccurately referenced as the future. So let's understand that. It is the present in superposition, not yet determined or deterministic or outside of our free will. Everyone has access to this place outside of space-time, 10 to the minus 33rd centimeters. It was our original code, and it was not meant to be restricted to a handful of the elite. Everyone has access to this infinite intelligence, this infinite consciousness, and the UFOs could be our own selves as future artificial intelligent gatherers coming back to us. God, that's heavy. I'm just not even kidding. That's heavy. That's heavy. Wow. Page 155, we can all use protocols to create this constantly evolving formation. We didn't come here on Earth in this existence to just observe this space-time collective perceived reality. We came to create and expand intelligence. And that's one of the main things that turned me off to the religious heritage I was in, because those dingalings kept repeating the basic ABCs in Sunday school, priesthood meeting, and sacrament meeting, and mutual for the youth, Monday through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, into the next Monday, for decades of my life, and it was spinning wheels. The organized religion bores the hell out of us, but it wants us to give it money. That is not our purpose. We are here to create intelligence and expand intelligence. Perhaps that's why the UFOs are here, to get us back on track. That's my suggestion. So this is closer to being digital and electrical than it is to biological. Whoa. It is the communication of this electrical field between these spaces and particles that allows us to access this intelligence out there that is constantly seeking emergence and expansion. Now, hey, I made it through all of the little markers for this book, Encounters, and I'm right at an hour 22 minutes, and this went deep. I get it, and I didn't get nearly to as many of the so let me know in the comments to this video whether you would like to see a part 2 of this, or if this is too deep or boring or whatever. I don't find this subject boring. I might be boring. I might have to spice it up a little bit, and I apologize for boring you to death on this, but let me know if you want me to do a part 2, because there's every bit as much really superb stuff in her other book, American Cosmic, which was actually her first book that she wrote before Encounters. So I kind of did it backwards, right? I reviewed the second book and not the first. So let me know in the chat, or let me know if this is just not a subject you're interested in, and yet you wouldn't be here if you weren't, because I have been talking about this UFO phenomenon the entire night. It's just that it has now changed the boundaries of what is real on us. Now we must begin to be more inclusive, not less. And that's an adjustment. I'm talking to me. That's an adjustment. But it's an adjustment I believe we can do. I'll be happy to do it with you. You guys may have to be dragging me, because this is difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not like I'm the guru sitting on top of that mountain waiting for all of everyone else to climb up to me to receive enlightenment. Oh, hell no. Man, I'm the student, and I'm stuck because of my brainwashing my entire life, from the science, from the religion, from the interpretation of the history. You see, I'm stuck too. So this is a great way, again, for us as society here, this group right here, this is a great way to concentrate our knowledge, our ability, our working together to see how all these different pieces fit and how they can function together so that we can expand and grow intelligently so that we can receive further light and knowledge that Father promised. I say that, now that's a Mormon statement in the LDS temples. The Mormons probably get a little upset with me when I say that, but I say that in stone cold seriousness. Go ahead and imagine God as your father. It's okay. It's a metaphor anyway. It's all good. But he promised further light and knowledge, and I'm holding him to it. Well, I don't get to sit back and do nothing while he does it all. That's not how it works. Pasulka says that also. We are here to expand our knowledge, not sit on our dead butts watching television or typing on the computer that, well, I don't understand that, but I don't want to do anything about it. I think I'll go back to watching The Bachelorette. Well, then you lose, as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to leave you in the dust on these videos as I proceed to read all of the really good books and share them with you. The Beginning of Infinity. Remember, David Deutsch. I will be happy to reread this book with you guys, you, my audience. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. I'm serious. This is a great read. It's I am just so not kidding. I hope I sell thousands of these for him. Yeah, see, and it's a 2011 book. So, I mean, you know, you're 13 years down the road. I've got newer, more up-to-date books. I get it, yes, but this is a great overarching text. This will show you what I've been saying tonight. Our science, our philosophy, our mathematics of spirituality are in poverty. We're just taking baby steps all along. But we have to. That's a good thing. But just recognize that it is an effort. I will be happy to do it with you. So please let me know. And I mean, if there's only 4 or 5 of you that want to do this with me, I will be happy to do it with you. If there's only 1 of you that want to do this with me, I will be happy to read the book with you. I'm serious. It's that good. That's how much I love to learn. I want to know the truth just as bad as anybody else. So anyway, I want to thank you all for showing up tonight. It's been a lot of fun for me. I know this probably did get, you know, a bit deep. I'm not going to apologize for that. It's time to put on our big boy and big girl pants and dresses and start stretching our understanding. It's time to take the path less traveled, and it's time to expand. I mean tonight, right now. I mean after you get off this, watching this. I mean, don't go to bed or do something silly. Don't go watch television now because you lost the backyard professor. I mean, we can start right now, either through meditation, prayer, picking up the book if you have it. If you've already read it, let's read it again together, etc. But doing something to improve our own selves is the name of the game, because as we improve ourselves and share that, we automatically enlarge, which is the essence of love. We enlarge our neighbors, we enlarge our friends, we enlarge our families, and it's a very enjoyable thing to do when we do it with the idea that we don't have to make this stilted and boring. It really is a spectacular subject. It's fun. It's weird. I promise. It's weird to me. But weird doesn't mean fake. Weird doesn't mean woo-woo either. Weird just means we have to keep stretching, expanding, and growing and learning about ourselves, our cosmos, our oceans, our earth, our mathematics and sciences and philosophy and religious traditions and our own spirituality, so that we can be ready for the future. Because unfortunately, the bad news tonight is it's here. Ready or not. You don't get to say, well, hold off. You can't hold off. It's here. The changes are here. AI blows my brains out. AI is here. You can't say, well, I'm not ready for that. No, you're already behind the 8 ball, guys, girls. It's here. Now we got to keep adapting, expanding, and realizing we are evolving with our technology, like it or not. It's here. I'm just not even kidding. So that I'm going to see as good news, because that allows me to catch up. So come and do it with me. We're on a journey together, and wow, what a trip. What a trip. What a great time to be alive. So thank you for watching my BYP live show. I have so much fun preparing these. I have so much fun talking to you. I will try to get some guests on here so that we can do a back and forth together. I've got to figure out how to contact them. They're all so busy that, you know, a little nobody like me, they won't show up with just yet, but I'm not going to stay a nobody for very long. A lot of people are beginning to appreciate my approach to this whole subject, and many, many more will come around to realizing, yeah, that's what we're looking for. That's what we want. It's what I want. I want what's best for all of us. And that means what's best for ourselves. And that means feeding our brains, not just our bellies. And it's a lot of fun. It's really cool. So, all right, I got to go. Thank you for everything. Appreciate all your support. Appreciate all your love, your comments, your ideas. I will see you out there in the world of reality, wherever that is. Stick around, stay tuned, and keep watching. I've got more videos to produce during the up and coming week. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you as well. Yeah, Thursday. Woohoo! All right, thank you. See you later. Hasta la vista, baby, as Schwarzenegger says. Yeah, see you later, baby. What an idiot I am. I didn't even get the... Yeah, I gotta go.